it's Jane O'Halloran from Anxiety Escape the Cage. Welcome to my live video. I'm sat in a different place today, you may notice, those of you that follow my videos, because my room that I normally do all my videos and my yoga studio and all of that is underneath my son's bedroom, and he's still in bed, you know, usually up until about 1 p.m. at least. So I said, well, I'll do this in the other room. He complained about my chanting. He says, when you chant Om, he said it reverberates through the whole house, which is a good thing, you know, but not, I guess, when you're trying to sleep. Anyway, so I said today that I wanted to talk about loneliness. It's kind of a topic that's close to my heart because I think I have spent a lot of my life feeling lonely. And the interesting thing is, I'm probably more alone now than I ever was, because of my relationship breakup, because of you know, the situation with lockdown. But I actually feel less lonely than I ever did. So loneliness is complex, isn't it? But I know a lot of you have mentioned it quite a few times in the group over various times. And I think it is relevant right now because I think during this time, I think it's basically the issues we're facing with this pandemic and lockdown, and even coming out of lockdown is challenging, isn't it? So I think it's heightening everything we already feel. So you're already feeling anxiety, you're already feeling lonely. It kind of heightens everything for most people. For some people, it's actually better. They say, well, I quite like just being antisocial and I've got a good reason, and that's fine. But, you know, I guess if you're watching this video, then loneliness is an issue for you. And it feels, how does loneliness feel? So for me, it felt very disconnected. There was a massive element of feeling rejected by everybody, of feeling not good enough. Maybe I would judge myself as well. Who would want to spend time with me? I'm inferior in many ways to other people. Perhaps I've got nothing of interest to say to people. I'm not interesting enough. I'm boring. I'm kind of, you know, why would anybody want to spend time with me? And sometimes we're our own worst enemy, aren't we? Because we protect ourselves from people seeing the real us, because we're too scared for people to see the real us, because we think that will be judged as not good enough in some way. But yet we desperately want to feel connected with other people. And so it's like this sort of dilemma, isn't it? And it feels, and it hurts. That's the thing I guess I wanted to say. It actually almost, it's like a physical pain, that loneliness. And there's so much associated with it that we attach to it. And so I don't know, you know, I'm interested to know your experiences of it and how you feel, because I think there's an element of shame. We feel ashamed to feel lonely, difficult to talk about, to admit. It's like admitting that you're lonely. In some ways it could feel a bit like admitting there's something wrong with you. Like, why are you lonely? You know, you should, you know, this is my thoughts when I was feeling like this. It's like, well, you know, I should be out there and being sociable like so and so, you know, comparing myself to someone else. Well, they're out having a good time, they've got lots of friends, they're having a social life, they've got, you know, all sorts going on, and I'm not, and so there's something wrong with me. So if I admit that I'm lonely, I'm admitting there's something wrong with me. So I think that can be a thought process for a lot of people. And so there's a bit of a shame, there's a feeling of shame around admitting that we're lonely. So it's almost like a stigma, almost taboo. I don't think we talk about it actually. You know, there's along with a few other topics that are bits of a stigma and a bit taboo. You know, death and sex, and I think loneliness might even come under that. I don't know how you feel, and it traps you even more. That's the thing, isn't it? Because you feel lonely, you feel disconnected, you feel rejected, you feel hurt, and yet your feeling of shame prevents you from talking about it, which keeps you feeling even more isolated. So I'd really be interested to hear what it is what your experiences are actually, and let's get a dialogue going. Let's get it out in the open. And I think as well, there's an element, isn't there, for women, there's the empty nester scenario. I mean, I know, like when I was younger, you know, the kids were small, your life's wrapped up around that. You've got that purpose that keeps your days busy, and the kids, your life may revolve around your kids and the things they're doing, and there's a certain structure, and you kind of know where you are. There's a certain predictability to life in a way, perhaps, that when they get older and they don't need us anymore, it's like, oh, okay, and that can feel lonely and rejecting as well, and it's there. You know, it's part of who they are. They need to move on and fly the nest, and that's really important part of their development. But it doesn't, and we know this rationally, but it doesn't stop part of us feeling that hurt. I know my son at the moment, so he's 19. He was supposed to have been at university these last few weeks. He's been at home with me, just me and him, and it's fine. But I know for him, he doesn't want to be at home with his mum. And sometimes for me it feels hard because he spends quite a bit of time in his room, or you know, now that he can go out with his girlfriend, you know, outdoors and stuff, he can do that. But you know, he spends a lot of time not being with me. Not that we don't get on, and not that there's anything wrong with our relationship. It's just that it's not how it's not meant to be that when you're a 19-year-old boy you're hanging out with your mum all the time. You know, in this, and in this lockdown scenario, it's almost been like there's just been the two of us, and for him that's hard. So he takes himself off, but yeah, that's hard for me because it can feel like if I'm not careful, you know, he doesn't want to spend time with me. And as you know, I'm recently divorced. I'm living on my own, so it all it could potentially be quite difficult, and it is. I'm not saying there aren't times when it is difficult for me, but as I said, because of the work that I've done, I no longer feel disconnected. I no longer feel less than. I no longer feel rejected. Don't get me wrong. You know, if somebody is not nice to me or whatever, it still hurts. But I accept myself and I love myself. I have that connection, that sense of belonging that comes from within myself. So I can kind of deal with all of that normal kind of life, things that life throw at you. So life will throw things at you, but then if you're centered and strong in yourself and you've got that self-belief, then you can deal with that. But I think if you're already feeling like I used to be, very much lacking in self-worth, very much feeling that inferiority complex, feeling rejected, feeling all of those things, then when life throws things at you, it's hard. It's much harder. And you know, I always remember, like as a kid, trying to fit in, and sometimes, you know, we can still do that as adults, can't we? Fitting in, and I think trying to fit in with other people who you maybe don't actually fit in with is one of the most soul destroying things ever, because you know that it's not a real connection, but you kind of do it because it sort of, you can fool yourself a little bit into thinking, I've got a group of friends and I've got this, but actually you're fitting in, and fitting in is not the same as belonging. When you have the sense of belonging, you can like not fit in. You can speak up. You can say, well, I don't agree with that, or I can be different to you. But you've got that sense of belonging. And often people surprise you. They just go, yeah, that's fine. They accept it. Most times we accept that, but we're frightened to stand up and be who we are. So we crave connection. We crave feeling understood. We crave feeling valued. We crave a feeling of worthiness. But unless we have that in ourselves, and I know it sounds like a cliche, it's like, oh no, not that again, but it's true. Unless we have that within ourselves, we can never get it from other people, really. And we're fooling ourselves. And so that's, the work, the inner work. That's what I've done, and I do with my clients. And I say to my clients, we're in the trenches right now. We're doing the work, and it is work. But it's rewarding because I don't feel lonely anymore. Generally, I very rarely feel lonely, and I'm on my own most of the time. I'm just looking at the clock as I said that was 11:11. I always think 11:11 is an auspicious time. I have a strong relationship with myself, but it didn't happen like just out of nowhere. It took work. It took work to do it, and it took other people to help me through that process, because we have such a blind spot when it comes to ourselves. So it didn't just happen. It isn't just a fluke. It was work. It was effort. It was dedication. It was putting myself first finally and saying, I need to do this for me, because otherwise, what am I playing at? I'm living in this pain and this hurt, and life's ticking by, and I don't want to do this anymore. So if you're saying that to yourself, I don't want to do this anymore, and you're fed up of feeling that hurt and that loneliness, and you want to feel valued and belong. You want to feel that sense of belonging and just, get rid of that loneliness. Then reach out to me. I'll be happy to talk to you. Okay, so thank you, everybody. I haven't got anybody with me live. It's a little bit early today because I'm going out this afternoon. But I do hope that you listen on the replay and that you gain benefit from this, even if it's just, it gives you insight, even if it's just that you feel understood, even if it's just we start a dialogue, just whatever way benefits you. Take these little messages that I'm giving and take from them what you need. Okay, so have a good day and lots of love, and I'll see you on the next video.